something to say.
Hello everybody and welcome to this episode of Project Shadow. My name's Charlie. You might know me better as sci-fi fantasy writer C.E. Dorset, heavy on the fantasy lately. My cold, still here, but my voice is stronger and I'm not quite as nasal, but we'll see. Hopefully it will be completely gone soon, because I'm going to have some audiobooks to start recording soon. Woo, isn't that exciting? So, to roll out the rest of 2018, I'm going to do the traditional top, best of the year kinds of things. And because music's one of my absolute favorite things in the world, I thought I would start with the top tracks of the year. Now, I want to say that this is not all my opinion. It's my process. It's what I actually listen to. I created a playlist of all the tracks I added to my library this year, and I sorted them by how many times I played them. So these are actually my top tracks. So there's that. I actually learned a lot about myself through this process, because this is not the list that I would have done if I just, off the top of my head, did my top tracks. So having said that, I actually want to do some things off the top of my head, some honorable mentions that didn't actually make my top 10 list, which is actually a top 16, because since it's based off plays, there's some ties for position. First of all, there's nothing on my top 10 by Kojey Radical, and I feel that that is a great loss. Kojey is a spoken word poet turned rapper turned amazing musician. If you're not familiar with any of Kojey's music, just check him out. Kojey Radical. Just any track you pick, he has not done a bad track in a very long time. Definitely check him out. I am very surprised that none of his songs actually made it into my top 10 listen, because I listen to him all the time. I also wanted to do a shout out for Lenny Kravitz's new album, Raise Vibration. Not the album I would have ever expected from Lenny Kravitz. It's not as rock and roll. I mean, it's got some rock tracks on it, but it's kind of laid back and kind of funky, and it's really good. Really good. Every track on it is very good. If you're looking for a place to start, I would recommend that you start with the track, Who Really Are the Monsters. Great album. Definitely check it out. I was also surprised that nothing from Janelle Monáe made it on the list. She, of course, had a great album this year. Nothing by Greta Van Fleet made it onto the top 10 this year. That surprises me a lot. Definitely check out our Anthem of the Peaceful Army. And, everything by them. Great band, especially if you like rock music. Check them out. Nothing by Hardy DiCaprio made the list. Again, definitely check him out. If you need a good place to start there. Nige, very good track. Good place to start. Nothing by Giggs made the list this year. That surprises me. If you're not familiar with Giggs, also a rapper, just check out his album, Landlord. Great album. Just amazing stuff. Nothing by the Carters. And that whole album was just fire. That was such a good album. So I can't do this best of the year without mentioning it. Ghost had a very good album out this year. I listened to a lot of Cardi B this year. And I expected the top 10 to be a lot of Cardi B tracks, because for some reason her album and my mood were in the same place, and I listened to a lot of Cardi B. But y'all know Cardi. Aviva really roared into my playlist this year. I did an entire episode about her earlier in the year, so go back and check that out. She's just amazing. Alternative, dark, punky amazingness. Novelist, again, didn't make the list, and should have. Really, really should have. But, yeah. Everything a record. Oh, everything is a record. I'm sorry, everything is recorded. Check out the latest album. It is so good. It is so good. And of course, Cybertronic Spree released Cybertronic Warrior this year. That's awesome. Stefflon Don had a great album this year. Like, this was a really good year for music. Justin Timberlake's album was good. Oh, Dirty Computer. There's more Dirty Computer. Oh, Dirty Computer was such a good year. For me, I thought my number one track of the year was going to be I Owe You Nothing by Senna Bossi. If you're not familiar with her, look up I Owe You Nothing. Fall in Love. Definitely a great track. Nothing by Lizzo made my top 10, which breaks my heart because she's amazing. Great music. Fitness was my top track. It just missed being in the, like, one play from being tied for number 10 on my top tracks. Lots of good stuff came out this year. Whole bunch of good stuff. Definitely Confidence Man. If you're not familiar with them, check out the track Try Your Luck. That is like my aspirational party song of the year. Great track. So those are my honorable mentions. And now for the top 10. We actually have a 4-way tie for top 10 this year. And in no particular order, one of these is an older song. So I'm actually going to start with that one. And that is Say You'll Haunt Me by Stone Sour. I realized this year that I'm a huge fan of Stone Sour because I've been listening to a lot of different music, and I was listening to a rock station, and this song actually played, and I was like, oh, that is such a good track. You know, Say You'll Haunt Me is just, it's powerful. The words are amazing. The music, if you're into rock music, it's a track you should know. And I went into a deep dive into their music because I really only knew them for, like, you know, Through the Glass and the, you know, the tracks that made it big back in the day. And I have to say, I fell in love with Stone Sour this year. I would have thought there would have been a lot more Stone Sour in here because, again, that's a band I listened to a lot to. If you're into rock music and you don't know Say You'll Haunt Me, oh my goodness. Like, that song gives me life. Also tied for number 10, Chun-Li by Nicki Minaj. Nicki has had a year of beefs this year. And she seems to be beefing with everybody, and everybody seems to be beefing with her, and I don't care. I'm not in it for the drama. Chun-Li is a great track. It is so much fun to listen to, especially on days when you're having a bad day. And this was a year where I had more good days than bad days this year, and that's kind of awesome. But on days when I wasn't feeling too hot, man, Chun-Li got my hackles up and got me going. That definitely, I'm sure everybody's heard that one because, you know, it's Nicki Minaj. And that's the thing that surprised me this year is how much what I would consider pop music made it onto, like, very popular tracks, made it into my top 10. Usually that's not the case, but apparently this was the year that I agreed with a lot of pop music. So, hey. Dem Beats featuring RuPaul by Todrick Hall, also tied for number 10. Forbidden was a great visual album by Todrick Hall that came out this year. Now, it's really hard to talk about this album and not mention Straight Out of Oz, because Straight Out of Oz was just flat up brilliant. And, you know, Forbidden is not, in my opinion, as good as Straight Out of Oz, but it's so much better than a lot of the other music that came out. Dem Beats and Doll Hairs are my two favorite tracks off the album. I'm surprised, again, Doll Hairs isn't on the top 10. If you're not familiar with Todrick Hall, definitely check out his YouTube channel and check out his music. Straight Out of Oz, Forbidden, But not, the reason I stress the YouTube channel is he does visual albums for these tracks, and the videos are really good. So definitely watch the visual album, especially for Forbidden. The visual album is so good. I just wish the songs were a bit stronger. And the last song tied at number 10 is Pour Me Water by Mr. Easy. Like I think the rest of the world, I really got into Afrobeat this year. Afrobeat and grime really took over a lot of what I listened to this year. Mr. Easy, I listened to a lot this year. Pour Me Water, one of the best tracks that I heard. It is a song about love. It is a song about loss. It is a song about healing. You know how I often say, it's good, but it won't change your life? Pour Me Water is one of those songs that just it soothes my soul. And if you don't know what Afrobeat is, if you're not familiar with that whole scene, Pour Me Water, Mr. Easy, definitely check it out. You'll learn a lot and really discover a world that you need to know about. At number 9 is the only track that is on my top 10 twice, because they're two slightly different versions. This would be Lemon featuring Drake by Nerd and Rihanna. So, yeah, great, almost bounce song, kind of a bounce song. Lots of bounce-inspired songs. Again, shout out Big Freedia, had a great album. Third Ward came out this year. Was kind of surprised it's not represented in these top 10. Listen to it a lot. Great track. Drake's verse is fun. This is apparently the year I became a Drake fan, because this is not the last time we will see Drake. And good for him. Wasn't really a big fan before this year, and apparently this was the year of Drake for me. Number 9, we have two songs tied for number 9. And if you're not familiar with grime music, which I mentioned before, Ghost Ride featuring A$AP Rocky and A$AP Nast by Skepta. That's one of the songs tied at number 8. This is just a fun track. If you need to get your energy going, grime is a good place to go for that. I've kind of been won over to A$AP Rocky. A lot of songs by him this year that I've listened to. I've been listening to Skepta for a while. This track, awesome. Just awesome. But the winner here, sorry Skepta, but the winner here is also tied for number 8, Turn Off the Lights, featuring Alexis Roberts by Chris Lake. Turn Off the Light is a wonderful dance song by British DJ Chris Lake. This track will get you dancing. One of those, if you need a little oomph to get you up in the morning, it's a lot of times when I listen to this, I'm about to start my day, I need to get some energy up, I would put this track on and just go for it. Great song, especially if you like dance music. It's amazing. At number 7, I don't think I have to say too much about this because the song was everywhere. God's Plan, Drake. I didn't think I listened to it that much. I really didn't, but I did. Yeah, number 7, unambiguously number 7. It's a good track. I don't think that's all that debatable. I mean, the track kind of blew up. Yeah. Year of Drake. Number 6. This song actually came out on Gang Signs and Prayer in 2017, but I didn't add it to my library till this year, and that's Stormzy's Shut Up. Now, the original version of the song came out in 2015. I have to say, if you're not listening to Stormzy and you like rap or grime or any of that, you should definitely check him out. He is, I think, the best hip-hop artist around right now. I love his stuff. I expected him to dominate this chart a lot more than Drake did, because I listened to a lot of Stormzy. And Shut Up, it's one of those tracks that, yeah, having a bad day, put it on. it'll make you feel good. It'll get you there. It will definitely get you there. Other tracks off that album for honorable mention: Big for Your Boots and Blinded by Your Grace. Just the whole album. Just go listen to Gang Signs and Prayer by Stormzy. And seriously, yeah. I mean, it's so good. It's so good. Number 6. Shut Up by Stormzy. Oh. Speaking of which, I think I'm going to take his advice on that, and we're going to go for a brief message from our sponsor, and I will be back with our top 5 after the break. And we're back. And this is just weird doing it this way, because like I said, a lot of these would not have been, some of these would have been on my list, but yeah. Our first entry from the Black Panther soundtrack, which is kind of going to dominate my top 5. King's Dead by J-Rock, Kendrick Lamar, Future, and James Blake. I don't know what to say about this song, except for I can't stand Future, and I love him on this track. I mean, that says a lot, because I usually can't stand to hear Future. Not one of my favorite artists. J-Rock, I love J-Rock. Can't believe nothing off of his album made the top 10, but if you're not familiar with him, definitely check him out. The Black Panther soundtrack is one of those albums that is going to just live forever. It was such a good album. And yeah, the movie was good, and we'll talk about the movie when we get to best films. But, King is Dead, such a good track. I don't know what to say about it other than that. Okay, number 4, we already talked about this one a little bit. This is Lemon by Nerd and Rihanna. I love the song. Hearing Rihanna rap, that I don't know why that just made me so happy, but it did. The music is so good. The video for this track is just amazing. Watching the dancer go and do her thing, it is so good. And I think if you can tell by a lot of the tracks that are in my top 10 this year, that a lot of these are like, get some energy, get going. Lemon is one of those songs that, yeah, it gets me up and going. And I'm not surprised to see it in the top 10, because, yeah, I listened so much to this track this year. And I'm not going to keep going on and on about it, because, well, I think everybody listened to it a lot this year. It was kind of a big deal. We have a tie for number 3. And the first one I'm going to get out of the way relatively quickly, because it was such a big hit that, like, it was featured on Ellen. And, yeah, one of the funniest skits I've ever seen is Migos trying to explain stir fry to Ellen. And yes, tied for number 3, Migos, Stir Fry. Fun song, fun video. What can I say? Like, Migos, their music lately has just been fun and a hoot to listen to. Lots of fun. Now, also tied at number 3 is a track that I wish there were more songs that sounded like it. And that's Sanctify by Years and Years. Now, Ollie and the crew at Years and Years, they're a good band. They're a British band. They tend to do fairly pop music, which isn't a bad thing, but it's not, really my bag. It's not the kind of stuff that I usually listen to. And I'm not against them as a band. If they come on one of the random lists that I listen to, or one of the stations I listen to, I usually let it play. Sanctify, oh my goodness, this song, from the drums to the vocals to the lyrics, is one of the best tracks of the year, without a doubt. And, this song is also kind of a namesake for one of the books that I have coming out next year because in the Mask of the Gods series, we're going to have 3 books come out next year, and that's going to be that's the last one. Crucify My Love, then Sanctify My Sins, and Glorify My Name. And the first book gets its title from the X-Japan song, Crucify My Love. Sanctify My Sins was actually something I was thinking about for the name of the second book, and then when I heard this song, oh yeah, definitely Sanctify My Sins and Glorify My Name stayed Glorify My Name. But yeah, I listened to this track a lot. I listened to it while I was writing. It was one of my inspiration songs. It is just a powerful, powerful track of, dealing with the crap that life gives you. And I think that was a message we all needed this year, more than we let on, maybe. Because, 2018 wasn't as bad as 2016 and 2017 for some reasons, and in some ways it was a lot worse. It's really hard to rank it as far as a year goes, but, this was the year where I definitely wanted a lot of happy music and fighting songs to get me through, and definitely Sanctify was one of those tracks that it gave me power. Tied for number 2 on our top 20 countdown. I say top 20, it's like 16 songs, but, there's the ties. And again, tied for number 2, but number 1 is unambiguous, and I listened to it far more than I thought I did, but we'll get there in a second. Tied for number 2, both from the Black Panther soundtrack, which was an amazing album this year. All the Stars by Kendrick Lamar and SZA, and Pray For Me by The Weeknd and Kendrick Lamar. I don't think I have the words to describe how much I love these tracks. Pray For Me is kind of an ironic song for me in so many ways, because, I love Kendrick Lamar, and on Damn, so many of the tracks had this refrain on it, ain't nobody praying for me, ain't nobody praying for me, all my grandma's dead, ain't nobody praying for me. And then to see this track, Pray For Me, I don't know, there's something that, it almost felt like a response to his own album in a way, in a very strange way. I think it works well with the idea of the movie and everything else, but just as a track, man, The Weeknd is so good on this one. Kendrick Lamar is really good on this. The music, everything. It just, I fall in love. SZA, there are not enough good words in my vocabulary to even start talking about SZA. I just love her voice. I love her music. She is so good. And this track, I just can't get it out of my head. If I were to have guessed my number 1 track, I would have guessed all the Stars. For as many times as I've watched the video or listened to the song, I would have guessed that All the Stars would have been number 1. It is such a good song. And I hate that I keep saying that phrase, but, for a year that, for me at least, was all about building myself back up and picking myself up and doing things again. The whole Black Panther album, but especially these 2 songs, were kind of key to that effort, because, between Pray For Me and All the Stars, those songs kind of formed the soundtrack of, my own desire to stand back up and fight my way out of the depressive funk that I've been in, and get writing again, and get podcasting again, and doing all the things that I love to do. So if you like this podcast, say a special thank you to the Black Panther album, because it helped inspire me to get up and running again. And especially to these 2 tracks, because they were just inspiration for me this year. And, maybe tonight my dreams will let me know that all the stars are closer. I mean, yeah, I just, maybe tonight. There's an odd hopefulness, like a wistful hopefulness in the chorus that really, I don't know, helped me get through some dark times this year. Because, you know, there was good, there was bad, there was ugly this year. And, yeah. Number one, and this does surprise me. Not because it's on the list, because I know I listen to it a lot, but I thought that I listened to other songs more. But apparently not. Nice for What by Drake. Yeah. Yeah, Nice for What, number one on my top tracks of the year. I'm not even gonna fight it. I mean, this is such a good song from the Lauryn Hill loop that they bring in. Oh, X Factor, man. Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is one of the greatest albums of all time, and X Factor is one of the greatest songs on that album. So you bring that into this wonderful, wonderful track, and I don't know. This is again one of those songs that just gave me life this year, because the struggle to keep myself up and running and motivated is a real one. And finding songs like, these, and especially Nice for What. Like, I should have realized that it would have been the top track, just because every time I was down, it was one of the, like, these three, Nice for What, All the Stars, and Pray for Me. They were kind of my go-tos this year to get myself picked up. But yeah, did not expect so much Drake on this list. All the Kendrick Lamar, that doesn't surprise me that much, because I listen to a lot of Kendrick Lamar. Would have thought there would have been more Tutter Call, because I listened to a lot of him. Would have thought there would have been a lot more Mr. Easy, because I listened to a lot of him, and a lot more Stormzy, because again, I listened to a lot of him. But I think a lot of the Stormzy I added in previous years, and that disqualified it from the playlist this year. I think that may have been what it was. I can't wait to see what this looks like next year. I hope you like doing this, because normally when people do their top 10, they're just kind of spitballing off the top of their head, and I like data, and I can't question that these are my favorite tracks of the year, because these are the tracks I actually listen to most. I'd love to know what your favorite tracks were. There were a lot of songs that I didn't mention. I'm not going to go into that. If a track or an artist that I didn't mention in this episode was not on the list that you thought should have made the list, like LP had a really good album last year, which is why it didn't make the list, and she just released a really good album this year, but it just came out, and that's tragic, because it can't make the list next year, because I've already added it to my playlist. So yeah, that's gonna hurt it. We've got some tracks from Within Temptation from their new album that was supposed to be out and then didn't come out, and I don't know what's going on with that. So yeah, there's a lot out there. If I missed anything, please let me know, because I love music and I love finding new music. So hit me up on Twitter. I'm CE Dorset on Twitter. Hit me up on Facebook over on the Project Shadow page. If the app that you're listening to me on lets you rate episodes and you liked this, or if you can rate the whole podcast, it really does help me out a lot. It tells the algorithms to share me with other people. So if you can do that, please do that. If you got a buck you can throw my way, depending on the app that you're listening to me on, there'll either be a button that says support, or in the show notes, you'll see a support on Anchor link. If you click that, you can support me at the $1, $5, or $10 a month levels. That really does help me keep these things going for you. I've had a lot of rethinking to do for what I'm going to do next year and how I'm going to structure my time next year. And I have to say, for the first time, thanks to our sponsors, the podcast is making money. And so thank you for listening. And we're up there in, I haven't really done any books this year, so I haven't had a big push, but it's going to be really interesting next year to see where I make more on the podcast or on the writing. And, I hate that we live in a capitalist society that makes me think in those terms, but, got to be able to pay the bills. But the podcast is starting to make money thanks to the advertisers and you guys listening. So thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions, comments, or anything, follow me on the Anchor app. Just go download it from your app store. Or go to anchor.fm and you can get a quick link there to download it. Follow me on Project Shadow. There'll be a little button that pops up that says voice message. It needs to be up to a 1-minute voice message. Keep it clean. If it's good, I'll use it on the show. I really like doing that when I get a chance to do that. Yeah. This isn't my final episode of the year, but I've got a couple more before we get to the first. But I just want to say thank you so much for listening to me and sharing me and, helping, me find my voice again. It means the world to me that you're there, and you're probably going to hear me get sappy a couple more times before the end of the year. Anywho, until next time, don't forget, have the fun. Bye.